Recording. Hello everybody and welcome to my LinkedIn content creation webinar. You'll see this probably as a recording on YouTube if you haven't attended the live session, but anyways, welcome. My name is Nicholas Krull and I'm with the internship. And let me go through here. What you can see now on your screen is a QR code, which when scanned will take you through to my LinkedIn profile. Please go ahead, scan that QR code, go to my profile, invite me to connect. I'd love to connect with you and let's talk about LinkedIn content creation. Let's talk about social selling. Let's talk about employee advocacy or any other digital social media marketing that you have on your mind. So scan this QR code. If you open your smartphone, just go to your camera, get the QR code into view, and you can go to my profile. Alternatively, you can open your LinkedIn app on your smartphone. In the search bar at the top, you'll see a small QR code reader icon. Click on that, scan my code, go to my profile, and invite me to connect. I can't wait to hear from you. Without further ado, let's kick off. This is what we're going to be talking about today. Okay, I'm going to be as practical as possible in terms of creating content for LinkedIn. Now, when we talk about LinkedIn, I'll say this first, is that remember it's a professional platform. We're there to get ourselves more out there and more visible as individual professionals, but also there is a benefit to our companies and our businesses. And our actions and activities that we do on LinkedIn can definitely help our businesses. And keep that in mind as we work through this webinar, as we work through this workshop, because all of the actions that I'll be talking about have a definite business benefit. From an agenda perspective, I'm going to answer some very common and very topical questions around LinkedIn content creation. Then I'm going to invite you to reset your LinkedIn content creation mindset. I hope that piques your curiosity a little bit. We'll get into that. Then we'll get into some practical aspects of it, how to create content, what to do, when to do it, etc. And then, of course, I will discuss anything that I kind of think of along the way. Because this is a recording, there won't be any live Q&A, unfortunately. For that, please do catch our next webinar in a week or two, depending on when you watch this. Just follow me on LinkedIn and I'll make sure that you know about it. So without further ado, I'm going to dig into some of these questions. So firstly, why should you as an individual professional post content to LinkedIn? Then how much time does this all take? How often and when should you post? How do you reach more people with your content? What kinds of content should you share? What is the difference between an article on LinkedIn and a post? And what should you measure in terms of your activity? Is it important how many people see it? Is it important how many people like it, etc., etc.? So let's get into these. So first, I'm going to start with a why question. And why should you post on LinkedIn? And just to be a little bit obscure, anyone who knows me will always hear me say this. We only post on LinkedIn to serve our followers. If we're not bringing value to the people who are consuming our content, we're not doing it right. So always post to serve your followers. And you might be posting on LinkedIn so that you can get more sales, but if you're trying to sell something, it's serving you. If you're trying to help your customers, it's serving them. So there's an inkling into that mindset thing that I spoke about in the beginning. Right, your posts must accomplish two things. They must be valuable to your audience and they must make you look like an expert. You need to articulate your expertise in your LinkedIn posts. So do those two things in every single post that you publish on the platform. Number two, why should you post on LinkedIn again? To make yourself more visible to people who count. By taking actions on LinkedIn, often you trigger notifications which are seen by other people. So make sure that you are triggering the right notifications to the right people to make sure that you are seen. To make your followers like and trust you, of course. So by publishing helpful, valuable, interesting content, you're actually raising your reputation in other people's eyes. making other people like you, and based on what you are saying and what you are sharing, trust you if people think that you're helpful. And thirdly, to build relationships, of course, business relationships, like what I've mentioned, and become influential. Now, if you're in marketing, if you're in sales, if you're in business leadership, you need to have some kind of influence over a certain group of people. If you're in sales or marketing, you need to be able to influence the buying decisions of your customers. And you can do this through LinkedIn content creation to drive demand. Now, there's a difference between lead generation and demand generation. I'll quickly just unpack that very quickly for you guys. Lead generation is you uncovering the names of potential clients. So it's basically capturing contact information from certain people who have interacted with your content. On the flip side of that is demand generation. This is where you don't necessarily know the people. You don't know who they are, who's consuming your content, or what company they work for. But through your content, you raise your profile, you raise awareness of your products and your services. And then when those people who you don't actually know yet reach out to you, they're most likely almost already ready to buy. So demand generation is creating demand for your products and your services, where lead generation is simply giving you a list of people that you need to work to try and convert into clients. Clients and potential clients who come to you through demand generation convert to customers much more easily than chasing down a list of leads. Again, the question, why should you post on LinkedIn? Well, I say to generate brand awareness for your company, and I got ahead of myself in the last section, but to create demand for your products and your services, but also to stay top of mind with your clients and your prospective clients. Now, most B2B buyers especially are not in the buying cycle all the time. They might only be ready to buy something 5% of the time. And so if you're trying to get in front of those people, communicate with those people, and reach those people, you might find yourself reaching them in the 95% of the time where they are not ready to buy something. But if you can stay top of mind with these people throughout that 95% time period, when they do reach that 5%, when they are ready to pull out their credit cards, if you're top of mind, most likely they'll reach out to you if you've made them aware of your products and your services and positioned yourself as a helpful expert. Another why question, and why should you be posting on LinkedIn? So that you can stand out from the crowd. Now, here I've taken an example of a connection of mine, and he posted this, and I thought it was very, very pertinent to what we're discussing today. And he posted that he was speaking to a hiring manager the other day who said they look at LinkedIn profiles and, more importantly, LinkedIn activity of their applicants more than anything else. And I think this is becoming more and more prevalent these days as more and more people are becoming more social media adept. Now, when you ask the hiring manager why, she said that because they look for people not only to fill a role, but also people to represent and amplify their brand message and culture on social media. They look for people to engage in and lead the conversation in their field of expertise. So people who create and share and engage with others. Not flawless resumes, all the right logos, or straight A's. So when you're thinking about your LinkedIn profile, it's more than just a good profile photo, a decent banner image, a well-crafted headline. Your activity, which shows up inside your profile, is also very, very important because that helps you stand out from the crowd. And I'll drop this in right now that only 1% of people on LinkedIn actually create content for the platform. So if you just put in a little bit of activity on a regular basis, you become part of a very, very elite group of people, the content creators. Right, some how questions now. How much time does this take? So I would say less than 10 minutes per post. So if you wanted to post 3 times a week, half an hour a week of LinkedIn activity, we've all got the time. We all have time to post on LinkedIn. I hear it often saying, people will say, I don't have time, I didn't have time, I've been very busy. What that actually tells me is that, because I don't believe that they don't have time, everyone has time for social media because we're all on it all the time. If people are saying, and if your staff are saying to you that they don't have time to post on social media for business, it means that they're either uncomfortable posting on social media, they don't know how to post, they haven't been given permission to post, or they haven't been empowered to create content, business content for social media. So you can address those issues. But we all have time to post on social media. It doesn't take long at all. The next hard question, how often and when should one post on LinkedIn? There are differing opinions on this topic. I would put a stake in the ground and say, as a minimum, you need to post industry relevant content at least once a week. Your audience will become familiar with you. They'll get to know you and what you talk about, but minimum once a week. The LinkedIn feed is a very congested place. There's a lot of content on the platform. And if you want any chance of being seen, at least once a week, you need to put something out there. Also, don't post more than once a day. What that'll happen if you do, it'll just diminish or decrease the reach of your individual pieces of content as the LinkedIn algorithm tries to spread your content across your entire network. So if you only post once a day, that is actually enough, in my opinion. Think about from a when perspective as well. When should you post online? When should you post to LinkedIn? And the answer is when people are actually active on the platform. So Friday lunchtime to Sunday lunchtime is probably not a great time. People are doing other things and not always online, but office hours is good. And actually some of my most well-performing posts were published on Sunday evenings between 6 and 8 p.m. So maybe something there for you guys to try. Another how question, how do I get my posts to reach more people? So there are a few things that you can do to make your content reach more people and perform better. So post regularly, yes, like I've said, but also stay in your lane. Pick a topic and post on that topic. If you're in cloud computing, post about cloud computing. Don't post about cloud computing today and carpentry tomorrow. It doesn't make sense to the LinkedIn algorithm, and you will be penalized, not necessarily because LinkedIn decides they don't like you, but you're confusing LinkedIn's machine learning. So pick a lane. So if you're posting about health and wellness, always post about health and wellness. The next thing you can do is to engage with the content published by other people. So what will happen then is, again, you'll be triggering notifications. More people will see your name. More people can then connect with you. More people will go to your profile, and your content will perform better as well. You can use hashtags, and I'll talk a little bit more about hashtags in a little bit later on in this talk, but you can use hashtags because it marks your content for search. And some people who have indicated to LinkedIn that they're interested in a certain topic based on hashtags, they have the opportunity to see your content if you include those hashtags in your post. What you can also do is you can tag people in your posts. You can also tag people in your comments. Now, if you're tagging someone in a comment, hey, at John Smith, I thought you'd like to read this article. You're being helpful, aren't you? Because you're serving that person with content you think might be interesting for that person. Something that a lot of people neglect is to post content into interest-based groups. I'm sure you've all seen groups on LinkedIn. If you type in a topic in the search bar, you press enter, and then you have the option to filter what kind of content are you looking for against that search term. Are you looking for people, companies, etc.? But you can also look for groups. So look for groups relevant to your industry, join those groups, and place interesting, helpful content in those places, because those groups are full of people that you're not connected with. Number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, always keep growing your network. The more people you're connected to, the more people have the opportunity to see your content. Very easy. Do that every single time you're on LinkedIn. Hit the connect button 5 or 10 times, and you'll see your network grows very quickly, very easily. And then you can really start taking advantage of the network effect of when someone engages with your content, their connections get to see your content as well. And lastly, ask for post engagement. Now you can do this in 2 ways. Firstly, in your post, you can ask a question. You can say, tell me what you think on this topic. Or you can offline go to your friends, family, your colleagues, your coworkers, your peers, and you can say, hey, I've just done a post on LinkedIn. Please go to that post and let me know what you think. The more engagement a post gets, the more it will perform, the more people will see it, and the more people have a chance to engage with it as well. Comments are like LinkedIn currency. If you can elicit comments, your posts will perform much better than posts that don't have comments. And here are some what questions that I'll answer now. What kinds of content should I be posting? There's no right or wrong answer here, and I think we should do a bit of everything. So short and long form posts. In a LinkedIn post, you can post up to 1,300 characters. Sometimes a one-liner is more powerful. Sometimes a very long form post or a list is powerful too. But you can also post articles, and I will explain the difference between posts and articles in a little bit as well. You can post with and without images. Sometimes images are great to draw attention to your post in a feed which is full of content. You can post videos, you can post PowerPoint slideshows. Yeah, there's certain ways you can post audio as well. So drop in a little bit of everything, because you never know what your audience wants on that particular day. So try a bit of everything. What should you be sharing in terms of content curation? Well, you can share links to relevant articles and videos, maybe that you find on YouTube or a blog from your company website. That's also helpful to your group of followers, because you're serving them with content which they might find interesting. You can also share company LinkedIn page content. Now be careful with this one. Make sure that you add your own 2 cents worth when sharing a piece of content from somebody else or from a company page. Otherwise, you're just dropping it in there and your followers don't actually have a sense of what of what your expertise is, or what your perspective is around that piece of content. So always put in your own context. For example, I found this piece of content and I thought everyone out there should read it because X, Y, and Z. Something simple like that, just to add a bit of context. Think about if I walked up to you and I handed you a book and then I turned around and walked away. It wouldn't make much sense to you, would it? But if I walked up to you and I handed you a book and I said, hey, Susan, read chapter 3. It's really going to help you with that project that you're currently busy with. And then if I walked away, Susan would know exactly what I thought she would find helpful around that book. So try that. Add some context to your shares. Another what question. What's the difference between an article and a post? Well, an article is like a blog that you can write inside the LinkedIn publishing platform. You can do a whole bunch of formatting with headings and page breaks and all sorts of things, but it lives in your profile. It doesn't necessarily get a lot of mileage in the LinkedIn feed, but when people do happen to visit your profile, they can see your articles, and that will help boost your credibility. It's a great way to prove that you're a thought leader in your industry. Posts, on the other hand, they live in the feed. They're quite fleeting. People will only necessarily see them once unless they go specifically to your profile to look for your posts. Okay, but they make you more visible on a day-to-day basis. So you should actually be posting articles and posts, because they both achieve different things. What should you measure on LinkedIn in terms of your own content? So I would say, if you're going to measure anything, measure engagement, because people who engage with your content give you an idea of how many people and who they are that actually care about what you're saying. So as you connect with more people, as you put more content out there, as you become more comfortable creating your own content, aim for an upward trend in reach, number one, and with that should come more engagement too. But don't get caught up on the details. If you only have 500 connections on LinkedIn and you're getting 300 people to view your content, that's fantastic. That's more than 50% of your network. I think, and everyone's network is going to be different, and everyone's engagement is going to be different. So you can't necessarily compare yourself to anyone else, but what you can do is just aim for an upward trend and keep doing things repetitively. Post content all the time, and you will see an increase. All right. So now the questions are done. I hope I've answered some of your questions. If you do have any further questions, just drop them in the comments below this video. I'll be notified, I'll pick up on those, and I'll address them for you. Alternatively, like I said in the beginning, connect with me on LinkedIn. Then you can ask me anything in a direct message. You'll see some more of my content on this topic. And you can even follow hashtag Wolfpack Marketing, because that's a common hashtag that myself and my colleagues use in all of our content on these types of things which are LinkedIn relevant. Okay, that's hashtag Wolfpack Marketing. I'll probably put that in the video description so you can go click on that and see what it's all about. All right, but now it's time to reset your mind around creating content on LinkedIn. So it's not difficult. Please believe me when I say it's not difficult and it's not scary. Another thing that I've already touched on, you do have time to create content. Very easy. I'll show you a practical example of how quick and easy it is in a few minutes. Your followers do want to hear from you. I promise you that's true. Otherwise, they wouldn't have connected with you. When you connect with someone on LinkedIn, you're asking them to open a one-to-one communication channel with you. You're telling them that you're inviting them to consume your content, but you're also telling them that you're interested in the content that they are about to publish. Okay, that is what a successful connection request looks like. You want to open an individual communication channel with a person, invite them to consume your content, and tell them that you want to consume their content. Right? You do have the right to post on your topic of focus. If you are in IT, you probably know more than me about IT, so please post about it because I might learn something. And this is true regardless of your industry, regardless of your job. You know a lot more about something than most other people on the planet, most likely. So you do have the right to post. All right, so what do the experts say? The experts say, bless you, when I sneeze. Okay, so I've pulled out a couple of quotes off LinkedIn that I found as I was researching for this talk. And Chris Walker, who is an amazingly pragmatic, I would say, person around content and marketing, he posted something the other day which says, create content like you have nothing to sell. It will get more engagement. You'll build brand equity, and over time, you'll create way more sales. Make this mindset shift and you'll feel the impact. So on LinkedIn, although it is social media and we're engaging in this thing called social selling, don't sell, don't push a hard sell on LinkedIn. People don't expect to be sold to on LinkedIn or on any kind of social media. They do expect to be sold to in your store, in your shop, which is, if we're speaking about online real estate, it's your company website. So hold off on the sales, promotions, and pitches until people have reached your company website. On LinkedIn, you should only be adding value and educating your target market. Go ahead and follow Chris Walker on LinkedIn. I promise you'll get value from the stuff that he's saying. He posts some really cool stuff and some great videos as well. Gary Vaynerchuk, most of us know this guy. Some of us like him, some of us hate him, but he said something quite wise in this quote that I've pulled up here. If you put out more quantity of content, it can help you find out what quality truly is based on data and feedback, based on how other people react to your content. So if you're still finding your content creation feat, try different things all the time, and then soon, within a few weeks, you'll figure out what your audience relates to and responds to and engages with so that you can feed them more valuable stuff like that. So try a lot of different things. Don't be afraid to try something different. Okay. So why bother with LinkedIn, or why not leave this up to the marketing department? Why should we be active as individuals when we already have marketers at our companies pushing out messaging all the time on all of these different platforms? So here are three statistics that support my notion that we need to, as individual professionals, also be content creators. So number one, there is 8 times more engagement on posts published by individuals than by companies or brands. Now, especially in B2B, where most people don't have a relationship with the brand of the companies we work for, They won't necessarily care about what our companies say, but they do care about what we say as individual connections on the platform, because they relate to us as human beings. So our posts get way more engagement than the posts published by our companies. Don't believe me? You can go and check. 561% more reach by posts published by individuals. So the posts that we publish go way further and are seen by way more people than the posts published on LinkedIn by our companies. And I'm talking about non-paid advertising here. Organically, individuals' content reaches way more people. And this is really simply down to the fact that LinkedIn is a business. They do sell advertising to companies to promote their content. So if you as a company are not putting money behind your content, your content won't be seen by as many people. But us as individual content creators, we actually attract people to the platform, to the LinkedIn platform. And without us, no one would be there to see advertising. So LinkedIn's business model would fall apart. Okay. And lastly, 92% of your connections are unfamiliar with the brand of the company that you work for. So the only connection between your brand that you represent and your followers is yourself. So without you in the mix, no one would be exposed to your company's products and services and messages. So I've mentioned this, social selling. Most people get this wrong. Most people think that before Black Friday, they need to put all of their Black Friday specials on social media. And it just feels salesy and spammy. It's not great. So do not hard sell on social media. The point is to generate demand for your products and services, to drive people to your company website, and to position yourselves as valuable experts. Now, what to avoid? This is a great list because most people say, what should I do? What shouldn't I do? So I'm going to say that this is not Facebook. Okay. Go into LinkedIn with a different mindset. On Facebook, we talk about ourselves, our families, our holiday photos, etc. On LinkedIn, it shouldn't be like that. Remember, we're on LinkedIn to serve our followers. So speak about them, post about your audience. Something which I have a little pet hate of is all of these memes that go around, whether it's around leadership or business or sales or anything like that. But memes don't solve business problems, and they also, unless you are the creator of the meme, they don't really position you as an expert on that topic. So my advice, my feeling, use it, don't use it, avoid posting memes and stick to posting useful, valuable content that makes you look like an expert. All right. Sharing content without context sucks. Guys, I've mentioned this before. Don't just share something just blindly. Don't just put it out there. Explain to your followers why they should care about that piece of content that you've just shared. Number 4, automation ruins authenticity. Many companies, maybe even yours, has got a software platform in the back end that serves you approved content on a regular basis, which then allows you to share that content on social media. Now, this is a great way to get many employees sharing the messages of the company, but it often comes across as very scripted, inauthentic, spammy. So if you are participating in a program that uses content automation, make sure that you edit that content and use your own words when pushing that stuff out to your personal networks. Okay. And lastly, actions that can damage reach. Okay. Avoid actions that can damage reach. Now, what are these actions, you might be asking? So on LinkedIn, LinkedIn wants to help us promote ourselves and our content out there, but LinkedIn doesn't want you as an individual to chase people to, off their platform to different websites. So if you are going to put in a link, for example, to your company page, to a YouTube video, to a sign-up form, maybe put that link into the comments section of your post instead of into your post, chasing people straight off LinkedIn as soon as they read that. Also, try not to share too much company page content as a share. because then you're actually stealing money away from LinkedIn itself, because they want companies to pay for that kind of exposure. So the best thing to do is just to publish original stuff that comes out of your own, comes from yourself and in your own words. Now, what to focus on? These are the things that you should do. Tell true human stories. Remain authentic. Use your own words. If I meet you in person and I get a sense of who you are and how you speak, I want to get that same experience when I interact with you and your content on LinkedIn. So if you are not an English native speaker, post in your own language. If you're in South Africa and you're Afrikaans, post in Afrikaans sometimes, because the people that know you, that are connected with you, will know that it's really you, and that's really, really authentic. Help your followers. And you can do that in a few ways. You can publish helpful content, of course, but you should also be going and looking at their content and uncovering challenges that they're experiencing. So offer solutions or point them to a helpful resource. They'll definitely appreciate that. You must always draw from your own experience. Stay in your lane, like I've said. Post in line with what you're trying to achieve as a professional and as a business. And keep your eye on the prize. And what do I mean by keep your eye on the prize? We should all be posting to serve our followers, like I said. But second to that, we all have our own business objectives that we're trying to achieve. So are you trying to get more visibility and exposure for your company? Then post around company issues, okay, problems that your company's products and services solve. So always kind of keep in line with what you're trying to achieve as a business when you create content. Right, now getting a little bit more practical and starting to use the platform. So when starting a post, I don't know if you know this, but you can actually choose the groups of people that are exposed to your content. So you can post to your followers and everybody else. You can also post in groups. You can also post to a linked Twitter account, which is quite interesting, to spread your content to more places and more people. Right? Definitely use hashtags. These mark your content for search and discovery. And like I've said before, some people actually even follow hashtags. Yes, you can follow hashtags on LinkedIn. Go to the search bar, type in your hashtag of interest, and LinkedIn will actually show you how many people follow that hashtag. Now, if you follow a hashtag, the next time somebody uses that hashtag in their content, that piece of content might pop up in your feed, even if you're not connected with that person. So this is a great way to help people discover you and your content. So I would say choose 10 or so relevant hashtags, but in each post that you publish, only use 3 and keep mixing them up. Use common, very popular industry hashtags, but if you have a branded hashtag that you'd like to use that no one follows yet, just like my branded hashtag is hashtag Wolfpack Marketing. Again, type that into your search bar, go and follow us, go and check out the content that we put out. I promise you it's quite helpful. But you can create and use a very unique hashtag, and that will help people stay in touch with you, your content, your company's messaging. Okay. Follow these hashtags and discover other people and their content. That's great advice as well. So follow hashtags that are relevant in your industry, and then you will uncover content and people that you can engage with, that you can connect with, that you can make an impression on. What about images? So images can grab attention and alert people to your post as they're scrolling down the feed, but make sure that the image relates to the content that you're posting. Don't post an image of a sports car when you're talking about high-speed fiber. It doesn't really, you've got the speed element there, but it doesn't really align properly, and you'll probably get penalized by this on the platform. So make sure that they are congruent. You can tag people in images. So when you upload the image, LinkedIn will say, click anywhere to tag. And this is a great tactic to use, because if you do want to alert specific people to your content, then at least their names don't fill up the bottom section of your post and make it look scruffy. You can also use the appropriate alt tags in your images. So just type a simple description of your post into the alt tag, because that will help with search and discovery on the platform as well. Now, when using the platform, you can also use other kinds of media. You can use video, and if you do, I encourage you to upload subtitles for your video as well, because most of us watch videos at work on silent, unless we use headphones. And so I think the stat is that 70% of LinkedIn videos are actually watched on silent. So if you want your videos to perform well, upload them with the subtitle. And if you really can't get that right, then at least use the body section of your post, the text area, to explain the nitty-gritty of your video, so that people who might not be able to hear your video can still get the gist of what you're trying to share. You can upload a PowerPoint file, and then the people consuming that content will be able to flick through those slides inside the feed itself. They won't have to open up a separate document. And you can definitely share links which point your audience to other pieces of content. There's a high value to this, because you're maybe sharing helpful content or pointing your connections and your followers to content which might be interesting and informative and helpful for them. But just keep in mind that you are then chasing people off of the LinkedIn platform, and those posts might not reach as many people. I just want to dig, or not dig in very deeply, but touch on how the LinkedIn content distribution algorithm works. So when you create a post and you click post, what LinkedIn does is will actually rank that piece of content for quality, and then decide how many people to show that piece of content to. This is also based on your historical audience engagement, i.e., who enjoyed your last few pieces of content, all right? And as your post goes out there and is seen by a few people, LinkedIn looks at the engagement, and based on the engagement, will decide on who and how many more people to show your piece of content to. So if your post, especially in the first hour, gets good engagement, LinkedIn will probably show that to a whole bunch more people than a post that gets no engagement, and then it won't go very far. Because if your post is getting engagement, it means people care about and are finding relevant the content that you're publishing. Okay, so we should write about our audience to get people to relate to our content, to identify with ourselves as human beings. So use the words like you and your in your opening sentence. Beware the grammar Nazi over here. Make sure you have your apostrophes in the right places. Talk about problems that your audience is possibly facing, and how your company's products and services offer solutions to those problems. And you can also reference examples and real life stories, so that when people read this, they can actually see, okay, this is not just some kind of fiction, this is real world stuff. For example, and now this is just a very basic example that I made up in my own head. I'm in no way a website expert or anything like that, but how's about this for an example post? Your business needs a better website so that more customers can find you. 3 ways you can make it more effective are to make sure it's obvious what you sell, make sure it's mobile friendly, and make sure that your contact details are really easy to find. You can find great website design resources at www.mywebsite.com. Now, if you publish that, then anyone who was struggling with their own website or thinking about a new website would really find this, I think, helpful and valuable. And then suddenly, to those people, you start to become valuable and look like a trusted expert. I'm going to play you a quick video over here to really show you how easy it is to create content on LinkedIn and how quickly you can do it. So if you're in LinkedIn, you simply click Start a Post. There you can see it's you posting, and you can choose your audience. There are a few options over there. By default, anyone on LinkedIn should be able to see your content. Then you can go ahead and type in your post. Now, this could be a one-liner, or it could be a paragraph or a list, anything like that. You can add an image so that your post can get some attention. So you click on the camera icon. Then you can upload an image from your computer or choose it out of your smartphone's photo gallery. You can click anywhere to tag, and then you can start typing a connection's name, and then that person will be notified that you've tagged them in a post. You can add the alt text. This will help people discover your post based on the description that you enter over here. Here I'm typing digital marketing. Click next. Now, once your copy is written, you can add your 3 hashtags. Trust me, 3 is the golden number. LinkedIn does give you some suggestions on what hashtags to use. So look at the bottom and you can even just click on the suggestions. Then check out your post, give it a good once over, make sure that you haven't left anything out or made any typing errors. And then once you're happy, you can click post. You see, it doesn't take very long to create LinkedIn content. That took about 30 seconds. Now I want you guys to go and try this. Okay, don't be scared. Right. Here are 10 content creation ideas for you. If you only use these 10 ideas and you just rinse and repeat these with different kinds of posts, I promise you it's better than doing nothing. So here's my list for you. The 10 that I think are probably going to be the easiest and help you the most. Number 1, answer a common question that you hear from clients. What that'll look like is, in a LinkedIn post, simply type, I often hear this question from clients, type in the question, and I always tell them, type in the answer, hashtag, 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 post. Very easy. Number 2, post a list, a how-to list, a top 10 list, a tips and tricks list, a 5 things to avoid list, etc., etc. People love lists because they're quite helpful, especially if you put some good helpful tips in there. Tell a story of customer success. That's a fantastic one because, again, a real world story about real people succeeding in life. So the last customer that bought X, Y, and Z from me is now seeing 3 times revenue growth because of A, B, and C. It's a fantastic story to tell. Speak about the negative consequences of not taking action. If you don't buy a brand new car during lockdown, you won't be getting the best possible interest rate. That's a fantastic one. You can bust a myth in your industry. Many people think that cloud computing will save them money on infrastructure, but have they considered X, Y, Z, A, B, C? Number 6, repost your best content from 6 months ago. Because the feed is such a busy place, I promise you that hardly anyone who saw you post that post the first time will see you post that post the second time, especially if you are continuously growing your network all the time. Something important to note is that your most recently added connections will be prioritized to your content for the first 30 days. So the people that you've added to your network in the last 30 days more of them will see your content than your older connections. Number 7, share a post from your company page. Just remember to contextualize that content before you publish it. Share the link to an article on your company website. The same thing is true here. Share a post from an industry expert. So someone that you might be connected to or follow, if they post something interesting, reshare that content, add your 2 cents worth, and serve it to your audience. And number 10, comment on current events and how they affect your industry. I think most people are commenting on the coronavirus, the COVID-19 situation and lockdown these days, and how that affects your industry and your work. That's very topical, but always link it back to what you're trying to achieve as a professional. Right. Focus on activity that counts. Right. Taking a few intentional actions on a regular basis will pay dividends. And what do I mean? Invite people to connect with you on LinkedIn every single time you visit the platform. Then your network will grow steadily and your content will reach more people. Like and comment on other people's posts every time you're on LinkedIn. By engaging in an intelligent way with other people's content, more people will notice you, you'll get more profile views, and you'll get more inbound connection requests, which are always fantastic. Engage with content posted by your colleagues and your peers. That will help their content perform better on the platform. Okay, I like to say it's like going to the gym. if I went to the gym today, I got all hot and sweaty, I went home, I got back on the scale, and I would see that I had probably not lost any weight and I wouldn't feel any stronger. So does that tell me that gym doesn't work? No, it just tells me I haven't gone to gym enough times. But go to gym every second day for 6 months, and I'm sure I'll see some kind of positive results. Same is true on LinkedIn. Small efforts executed consistently and regularly deliver amazing results. And I promise you this is true, and I challenge you to put in the time and the effort and try it out. Right, the more you post, the more people will engage with your content, activating that thing that's called the network effect. And this is where people engage with your content, making you and your content more visible to their connections, who in turn might do the same thing, making your content and yourself more visible to their connections, spreading you across all of the networks. Here's something that you can check out to score yourself to see how effective you are on the platform. So visit linkedin.com/sales/SSI and you'll see your social selling index. Now, LinkedIn ranks all of us according to how effectively we use the platform. This is a bit of a vanity metric, but it does indicate how effective you are. So check out where you are right now, write that score down, start posting content, and then come back in a week or two and check out your score. Also, at the same time, keep connecting to new people, keep engaging with the content from other people. And you should see your score easily climbing into the 60s or the 70s. And then you know you're doing very well. And that's it. That's my talk. And like I said before, unfortunately, this is a non-live recording of this session, but please let me know what else you want or need to know. Drop a comment below this video, connect with me on LinkedIn, send me a direct message. Can't wait to hear from you guys. And if you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, here's my QR code again, or you can simply search Nicholas Krull on LinkedIn. That's Krul. I think there's only 2 of us on the whole platform. It's easy for you to find me. And remember, please guys, follow #Wolfpack Marketing for more content on topics like this. And I hope to see you at my next session. Keep in touch and take care.